Welcome to another episode of the Walk the Line podcast. I'll be your host, Greg Sowers, and joining us for episode 25 today, our returning co-host, Alex Walker. How's it going, Alex?
Hey, Greg, doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for hopping on again. We got a exciting interview, and we talked about in previous episodes of, guys who want to share their stories to us actually to share those stories. And this particular player came through via Instagram, and looking forward to hearing what he has to share about the Israel Elite Hockey League. And that's going to be Cam Angus. How's it going, Cam?
Good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on. So as I mentioned for our listeners, Cam is currently a player for, in the Israel Elite Hockey League for the Bat Yam Dolphins. And we'll obviously get to that as we go through the podcast. But, just getting started as we do with most of our guests. Cam, how did you get started playing hockey?
So started as an inline guy, but started in the driveway with my dad at about 5 or 6 years old. And then all the neighborhood kids got involved with it. So from there, it turned into street hockey and then garage hockey whenever it was too dark to see outside, and so it just kind of kept going from there.
Yeah, so and I should have asked you this, but where, I guess, was this all in Tennessee you started playing?
Raised in Hendersonville.
Got it. So I guess what was you're in Hendersonville, you're a 95 birth year, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So I guess what was your, how did you get involved with hockey? Was it the Predators? How did that come about, or was it just picking up sticks in the in the street there and playing?
So a little bit of the Preds, and then my dad was from Toronto, so hockey runs deep in this family. But so a little bit of him, and then a little bit of the Preds, and then I played every sport too. Soccer wasn't my thing. Basketball wasn't my thing. So ended up getting the hockey, and it stuck.
Yeah, and then so I guess was that well, you mentioned roller hockey, but I guess you would start playing at Centennial then, right?
Yeah, the 5 a.m. days of Sunday mornings at Centennial.
We still have those.
Yeah, still have those, and it still looks the same as it did probably 20 years ago.
A couple new signed, right? But pretty much.
Yeah. So you mentioned your dad and from Toronto, and obviously being Canadian, like there's the hockey link there, but was it, were you the one who said I want to start playing hockey, or did your dad let you try it out and you kind of just took off from there?
I mean, yeah, there was really no push. I mean, as far as that I can remember, it kind of just, I think it started with me. I mean, I got hit in the face playing goalie one day in the driveway, and was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, yeah, sign me up. Let's do more.
But you are not a goalie, right?
No, I'm not a goalie. Yeah.
It takes a special kind of person to be
crazy,
a goalie.
But not that crazy.
Right.
So you're playing, I'm guessing, house league at Centennial. You're playing street hockey. I guess what was your youth program growing up? Was it just house league, or was it the Flyers, or I'm not even sure if the junior Preds were around when you were growing up.
So junior Preds weren't a thing yet. It was Southern Flyers and Ice Tigers were the big ones. So I think I tried out for the Flyers like my 12U year and didn't make it, but I ended up just playing like house all-stars and rode out the house program, and then got to high school and then ended up playing a little bit of travel in high school. But I mean, growing up, it was always house league, the house league all-star.
Okay. Well, so you were house league then, and then I guess you're saying you didn't play double A or triple A from what I'm understanding. So did it, you just kind of walk on to the high school team your freshman year at Hendersonville?
So I mean, Hendersonville, like it's, I mean, I know you're on like the northern side of town, but Hendersonville, I mean, there's not a ton of hockey here. So I mean, there's like Station Camp, who had their own team, JP2, who had their own team, and then there's Hendersonville. So you're kind of surrounded by other schools. So really, I mean, competition was slim. We'll put it that way.
Right.
But I mean, not to like toot my own horn, but like I was a pretty decent player. So my like 8th grade year of middle school, like I was already practicing with the high school. So I mean, I was on the radar.
Okay.
But I mean, as far as like competition and other kids and having to go out and fight for it, not too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were playing Hendersonville, were you guys scholastic, as in were you guys just Hendersonville, or were you combined with other schools?
Oh, we were just Hendersonville. So I mean,
Oh,
I
okay.
I look at it now, and I mean, it's unfortunately it's regressed to where it takes 4 schools to field one team. But back then, I mean, we had a full team and some scratches every game.
Yeah, the high school, I mean, I'm not sure how much in tune you're with it now, but I mean, I think we only have maybe 6 or 7 scholastic schools. So a lot of us now are combined. I know
Yeah.
we're some at Page. Alex, you're
Mount
3.
Juliet, Green Hill, Lebanon. Yep.
Yeah, so it's I mean, there's pros and cons to it, obviously, but it's good to see Nashville hockey's growing,
Yeah.
as we go. But so when you were playing high school, was that the only hockey you were doing, or were you also doing house league and potentially travel?
In high school, I played 18U J Preds. They were a thing probably like around my like freshman year it started.
Mhm.
And so by my senior year, I was playing for the AA team.
Got it, got it. Okay, so from playing high school in Nashville at Hendersonville, you decided to go to Eastern Kentucky and play a little bit of 4 years of ACHA club hockey with Eastern Kentucky University. How did that opportunity come about? You mean, were you set on the school and they had a hockey team, or did the hockey team reach out to you for the team? Obviously.
Dude, I didn't even know this place existed. Like
Where,
I'll put it
where
that
where
way.
is where is Eastern Kentucky? Yeah.
It's in Richmond. It's right by Lexington.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, but the one really cool thing that our JPREDS coach would do is anytime we would go to a tournament, he would invite all the club coaches.
Hmm.
So we'd go play in like Cincinnati, and so the Xavier coach would come out, the UC coach would come out, Dayton coach. So a lot of like the surrounding club coaches would come out and talk to us and give us this spiel on their program and kind of try and sell it to us. So there
Yeah.
was one weekend where we were in Springboro, Ohio. We were playing in this metal barn. There were like 3 feet of snow outside. It was the coldest experience of my life. Um, but the EKU coach was there, and he had a group of us, and he was just telling us about the program, telling us about the school, and then uh, we ended up actually driving by the campus on the way home. We took a little detour, and so went and looked at the school, met up with him, and he treated me like I was a 5-star recruit. Like it was amazing. He
Yeah.
gave me a tour of the whole campus. He let me tour like they're not D1, they're FCS in a lot of programs. So I mean, they're
Hmm.
not like the big leagues, but like I got to go through all their locker rooms, their weight rooms, like meet all their big guys. He introduced me to the head of the program, so he made the visit like really, really, really good. And then senior night came around, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
It was between that or like Tennessee, Chattanooga, and not even play hockey again.
Yeah.
Um, so I was like, okay, I'll keep playing. Like I'll go there, I guess. And then
Yeah.
ended up being a great decision from there out.
Yeah, so it sounds like, again, obviously not knowing where Eastern Kentucky University is, you wouldn't have probably ended up there if they didn't, come watch you play and have a spot for you on the team.
Oh, I was set on going to Tennessee, Chattanooga, and hanging them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this is a lack of research on my part, but I know, I think Kentucky does that midnight club hockey game. I think it's
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah,
Did
that's a big
did you
one.
did you get to be a part of that? Would you play them?
So yeah, we shared a rink with them.
Okay.
So we were about 30 minutes away from the rink, and they were about 10 minutes away from the rink.
Okay.
So we each had our own locker room on separate sides of the ice, and then we had a storage room, and I'm not sure. I think they took their stuff to and from the rink since they were so close.
Hmm.
Uh, but the rink would give us our games after public skate. So they
Solid.
would always be an 11:55 puck drop. And so
Woo.
sometimes you'd walk in and there'd be 2 people doing public skate. Sometimes you walk in and there'd be 100. Like it was hit or miss, and it was really frustrating whenever no one was out there.
Was that at
Um,
the? Did you play where the Ice Cardinals play, or is that am I
no,
wrong?
they are in Louisville, so they're
Oh, that's
about
right. That's right.
an hour and a half away.
What rink did you
Uh,
play at?
the Lexington Ice Center.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
So yeah, we shared a rink with them. We had the same game times, and then my sophomore, junior, and senior year, we started a trophy game with them. So up until then, we weren't playing each other. Like we just kind of avoided each other, and then sophomore year, we picked that rivalry back up.
So, are you saying all of your games were, if you had a home game, they're usually that late at night?
Yeah,
Damn.
it was terrible.
Well,
They
when I
did have
see
a
this,
back rink. They had a back rink. It burned down, unfortunately, but they had a back rink that was even smaller. Because the main ice isn't even regulation. The neutral zone is very small. Um,
club
but they
hockey,
had
a
a
lot of
back
hitting.
rink
Yeah.
that was even smaller, and then we could play games out there, and have a better ice time because no one really wanted to use that ice, and so we could fit like maybe 50 fans in there, but I mean at midnight we still pull like 300.
Yeah, so I mean, being at Eastern Kentucky, and you mentioned it's not, a D1 school. I mean, you guys being the hockey boys, were you kind of the big dogs on campus, like, and people wanted to come to the games? I mean, what were your fans like at Eastern Kentucky for the most part?
It was, if you knew, you knew. If you
Yeah.
didn't know, then you ended up finding out. So we I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was one year where we came in second for ticket sales.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I mean, despite being
Well, I mean,
30 minutes off
to even
campus and games at
yeah.
midnight, and we charge $5 for a ticket, but I mean, there are people that would see us and go, "Oh, you're on the hockey team," or "Oh my gosh, like we want to come hang out with the hockey guys." And like, I mean, I'm not gonna say it was, like royalty or anything like that, but I mean, people
Yeah.
kind of knew who we were. It was a really cool feeling for a while.
Big fish in a small town, but in a good way.
Yes.
Greg,
Uh,
what were you
uh,
gonna say?
I was just going to ask. I mean, I don't think I mean, I had a cup of coffee playing, pro hockey. I played 2 games, and I think that's the only time people actually got charged to watch me play. So, I mean, to Kentucky and even have ticket sales like MTSU here, I don't even think the club hockey, charges to see their games. So, I mean, you're a bigger deal than a
Yeah,
lot of
no
other
kidding.
kids. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So, and I don't know, and I mean, like I got to during my time there, I was the general manager and the president of the team, but just like seeing how some of those teams operate and seeing how you have to operate, like I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, and we just had, and it'll be released, well, I guess before this episode comes out, but we talking to an MTSU guy, and he's the president, and he was just sharing, all these programs are club hockey programs are student run, and all the work that goes in from the player standpoint, not only on the ice, but the stuff they have to do off the ice and scheduling games and recruiting, and I
Oh
can
yeah.
imagine you went through a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
Fundraising, all that stuff.
Yeah. So you did 3 years, and again, this is from Elite Prospect, so if I'm wrong, it's their fault. But you did 3 years of ACHA D2, and then your senior year you played ACHA D3. Was that just a program change, or you did just decide to play for the D3 team?
So we were never very great as a team. So I mean, in D2, like the bottom of the barrel, I mean it's the bottom of the barrel. Like they're still not great. We still managed to win games.
Hmm.
But my freshman year, the coach kind of told us that it was going to be rough. So we only won like two
That's what you want to
games.
hear.
Yeah. He was like, "Look, I just got
Development.
the team like 2 years ago. There's some fat that needs to be trimmed, but it'll get better." And we were like, "Okay,
Yeah.
man, like whatever you say." But yeah, so freshman year we won 2 games. It was terrible. Sophomore year we won like 10 games. It got better. Junior year we won a lot of games. It was awesome. And then senior year we had the opportunity to join a conference. Like every year the team like got better and better and better and better. And like things got smoother and smoother. So it really was like we had to get rid of some guys, and then the people that wanted to play and see it grow were there, and it grew. Um, so we did that, and then we joined the Indiana conference with Butler, IU, Purdue. Trying to think who else was in there. I think Ball
See,
State had a team. And then there are a few other teams, but we ended up going to a conference championship that year, and we lost to IU. But I mean, from winning 2 games to a conference championship, like, I mean, it was a great experience.
yeah, no, that's awesome. So, you get through your college career, and it looks like you took a few years off before. I mean, you might have been playing beer league or something like that, but it looks like
A
you took a
brief
few years off,
hiatus.
a brief
Yeah.
hiatus, honing your skill. Yeah. So, and again, current player for the Bat Yam Dolphins in the Israel Elite Hockey League. How the hell did that happen? So I was it, did you reach out to them? Were they scouting? I'm so interested to, learn how you ended up there.
So college ended, and I used my degree for about 2 months and then hated it.
Yeah.
So I went and worked with True Temper, like I was working in the hockey industry. So like I was working their social media. Like it was cool for a month, and then I was like, all right, yeah, this isn't it.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming back to Nashville from Memphis, and then started, just being an adult, going to work. Started personal training and stuff like that, and then one day my sister sent me this link and was like, look at this new league that started, you should go. So I looked at it, and it was just an open application, like, hey, we're trying to start this league over here. This is what we're trying to do. If you think you might be interested, fill this out. We'll give you a call. We'll go from there. So I just kind of said, what the hell, and filled it out. And then a week later, I got a call from a guy, and he just kind of talked me through the league and walked me through everything that they were trying to do. And they kind of verify a little bit with elite prospects. So it's not like total scrubs, but it was the first year, so they were just kind of trying to prove the pilot and seeing, if you could make it over there and if you could skate. So
Yeah.
fortunately, I could do both.
That's great.
So
and it looks like the team actually. So you were on the team the very first year it was a team. Is that correct?
yeah, I was the first person, and I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, that's why I'm the captain.
Oh, there you go.
Aside
yeah, I
from
was
your natural leadership qualities.
Yeah,
Right.
great leader,
Right.
but also the first one there.
No, that's cool. I mean, I was going to get into, the specifics of, the team, and I have a bunch of questions about what it's like playing over there and everything. But if you could just kind of go into, I believe there's 8 teams. Obviously, it's in Israel. I had to take a geography lesson to remind myself where where everything is over there. But you could just talk a little bit about, the league and the amount of teams and kind of if you guys get fans and things like that.
So it's grown every year. Our
Mhm.
first year, like I said, the proof of the pilot was, if you could get there, if you could skate, awesome. So we played on this little tiny pond of a rink. Like it was big enough for 4-on-4. Like it was the most fun hockey I've ever played. I love it.
Mhm.
But I mean, space wise, it was about like lengthwise half of a regular rink. So from red line to inboard.
But you were still playing 5-on-5.
No, we were playing 4-on-4. Like that's all
shit,
that could
okay.
fit. So no icing. So I mean, it was just like you turn around, it's a breakaway the other way. Like it was.
Like you were kind of like the first 3 ice league, like the 3.
Yeah, it was. It's. I mean, it's almost like the lab, almost.
Yeah.
Like think of it that way.
Yeah.
So that was our first year, and then our second year, we moved to a new place, which is about like 40 minutes outside of Tel Aviv in a town called Netanya. And so I think it's Olympic. It's in between Olympic and NHL. It's massive. But we moved there, and then we added 2 new teams the second year. So one of them is a team of guys that are from Israel, and they all work at the rink pretty much. So they ended up winning it that year. They went undefeated, and then they also won again this year. They're really freaking good. But this year we added two more teams on top of that, one of them being the U20 Israeli development team. And then another team was just another team that was needed. So we had 8 this year, and then the Netanya team beat us for the championship this year.
Okay, and so I guess my next question about the league, you know, I guess so. And I know about some European leagues where they just play in the summer. I think it's Alex. We were talking about this before we hopped on the call. I think the Australian league they play in the
Yep.
summer.
Yeah.
So when is your season? How long? How many games? Things like that.
So it was a 13-game season. I just got home about a week ago, actually, so I'm back in Nashville. But it went from, let's see, well, I flew out June 18th and just got back July like 20th. So it was about 40 days total that I was over there. So 3 games a week, pretty fast-paced schedule.
Yeah.
And
So
you
are
guys
you?
are practicing. Yeah, I was definitely thinking the same thing. Are you
Yeah.
guys practicing? Like, where are you staying? And I'm assuming you guys all play at the same rank.
Yeah, so this league, and it is a great league. Like, I'm not taking anything away from it or anything like that, but in a way, like, I mean, it is it's a summer league. Like, I mean, you've seen the beauty league, like you've heard of that, where all
Yeah.
the teams, they kind of have a name and they're all out of the same rink and do the same thing. So that's how this league is. Like, we're all centrally owned. So there's Hockey Club Tel Aviv, and then there's the Bat Yam Dolphins. But my roommate is a HC Tel Aviv guy. Or, across the hall, I've got someone from the Holon Vipers. Down the hall, there's someone from another team. So it's all it's a summer league that is instead of going to camp, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
So
like,
is it? Yeah. So
oh,
I mean, it's cool the way you're explaining it. It does. It sounds like a like a summer camp for 40 days. I mean, I guess when the league was thought of and brought up, and you were involved in the pilot season, is the goal like for have a place for guys to play, or is it kind of a tourist attraction for people to come and watch you guys for the 13 or 14 games, whatever it may be? Like, what's the goal? Is the plan to expand the league for a full season, or
so
the
ultimately, what they're trying to do is they're trying to build the skill level of hockey in Israel. Um, Obviously, limited resources of where they are, since you just looked at a map recently. Um,
Yep, yep, yep.
so like limited resources in where they are, but I mean they're surrounded by good hockey, like for the most part, a lot of Russian immigrants too. um but if you look at the team Israel, like their what is the word I'm looking for, like world championship teams, they're silver medalists, they're bronze medalists, they're in Division 2. So I mean there is good hockey over there.
Mhm.
um but ultimately, like I said, this league is really meant to build the skill level of hockey there. So um, they do have guys that will leave Israel, come to the States and play juniors, do whatever, and then go back and serve if they need to, or they find pro leagues elsewhere. Um, but another idea that they're trying to do is they're trying to have a pro team out of Israel. I don't know if that'll come to fruition, but that has been kicked around.
Yeah, I mean, growing the game, right? Got to do it.
Definitely.
So you mentioned that you all play at the same rink, kind of stay in the same spot. Um, what's the hockey, scene kind of in Israel? Is there multiple rinks, or there's one rink and you guys are playing at it?
So in the country itself, there are 3. One is, like I said, kind of like upon like the lab, so it's not really a rink. It's more of
Hmm.
just, public skating and figure skating whenever. And then there is one in like the tippy top of the country, and then there's one right in the middle in Netanya. So they're in the
Okay.
works of building another one. Um, but I mean, hockey, it's not huge there. I mean, people look at us on the street with our hockey sticks and they think we're crazy. And then you tell them you're playing ice hockey and they look at you like you have 10 heads.
Right.
Are they trying to build like the youth hockey program over there? Like, are you guys involved with like the young guys and girls and growing the
A
game
little
too?
bit. I mean, they would come out to games because, like I said, one of the teams is all of their coaches and trainers. Um, so that aspect, like there was a lot of the kids that would come watch them and cheer them on. But if you're on any of the other teams, like, yeah, you might get like 10 people.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to pivot this to your personal experience in playing over there, and you mentioned that you're living in the same spot, but your team. I mean, it's named after Bat Yum, but if I'm not exactly sure where y'all are living, I mean, you're right on the water. I
Oh,
mean, what's
we're
that?
all in
What's that
Tel
like?
Aviv. Like, we're all in Tel Aviv. We're all in Tel Aviv, and it was a mile walk to the beach. So I was still on the water either
Wow.
way. Yeah.
So
So
the
Tel Aviv is the city that never sleeps, and if you are a college age kid that is really looking to up your skills, like it's the best league ever.
gotta love it, gotta love it. So and again, I think we asked about the kind of the practices. I mean, are you guys doing off ice stuff and training and things like that, or is it strictly just the games? I guess.
It's whatever you want to make it.
Got it.
So we have some guys that this is their one vacation a year, and so they vacation, they lounge on the beach all day, and then we
Go
have
play
some
hockey.
kids that
That sounds like
are,
a good deal.
yeah, it's a great deal. So that's people like me.
Yeah.
And then we have like some kids that are junior age that are trying to progress and, go elsewhere to play. So, they're working out. There's open ice opportunities that you can go to. But it's mainly just games. And then if you want to run and work out, you can get a gym membership or do anything like that.
Okay, and so again, I know some things about European hockey, and you mentioned it's not a long season, but I mean, is there a financial incentive to do this, or is it you pay in your own way while
You're
you're
paying
there?
your own way.
Love it.
So you can fundraise, but for the most part, you're paying your own way. So, we like to say it's semi-pro, but with the word pro in there, there has to be a money exchange, and there is no money exchange, but you're playing semi-pro level hockey,
Mhm.
just without the pay.
And do they charge for your games then? The fans?
No, like I mean it's to grow the game. So
Got
it's
it.
free,
Okay.
and then this year it was really cool. But we're on their version of ESPN. So we had national TV deal. We were broadcasted, like our championship game was broadcasted, and then we had 10 games overall throughout the season that were broadcasted. So if they
It's come a
weren't
long way.
showing Wimbledon, they were showing us, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's really.
No, that's cool. So, in kind of transitioning back to your, personal experience, you said you got the captaincy because you were the first one there. But, you mentioned, like we talked about club hockey and having, responsibilities off the ice. As captain of your team over there, is there any other responsibilities that, you have that a normal player, I guess, wouldn't?
I mean, a little like you got to do some little duties before the games, like submitting rosters, and then we did talk to like the equipment managers here and there just to make sure that everything was squared away. But um, as far as my experience, I mean, this year our team was an interesting makeup, and this is the really fun thing about playing hockey internationally is you can turn to your left and try and explain something to someone on the bench, and they can have zero clue what you're talking about because they don't understand a freaking word. So we had these two guys on our team that were like, whenever I say it's high skill, like they both played in the KHL. So
Okay.
one of them played a game with Ovechkin and Backstrom on Dynamo whenever the lockout happened.
Oh,
Um,
damn.
so like there's good skill, and these guys only speak Russian. They don't speak a word of English. So, and both of them were my assistant captain. So anytime I'm trying to talk to them, I'm taking pictures of like Google Translate and just putting that in the group. Um,
Are you doing that on the bench too?
oh yeah, I mean, like luckily we had a little quote unquote coach, but we had a guy that spoke English, Hebrew, and Russian. So if you needed to talk to anyone, like there was someone that could make it
Oh,
happen.
nice.
But
Nice.
We had guys that spoke only Russian, guys that spoke Russian and Hebrew, guys that only spoke Hebrew, and then there's idiots like me that only speak English and nothing else. Like, so we're like 4 Americans, 1 Canadian, a bunch of Russians, some Belarusians, and then a couple Israelis.
Yeah. So like when you guys all go back home and obviously when the season's not going on, do you guys all stay in touch, or is it more of, hey, we're here to play for 40 days, see you later?
So I mean, like it goes by team. Like I don't really, associate with like some of the other guys from across the league that are in Israel, but
Mhm.
as far as like our first import group, like we're all very tight. Like one of our boys is getting married at the end of the month, so we're all flying to New Jersey for that. So
Nice.
like we do that, and then some of us are playing in an inline tournament together or like beer league tournaments here and there. So I mean, it's kind of blossomed into something else, but yeah, we're all pretty tight.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned kind of like the different dynamics of the team and the languages, but also I think this is from your team last year, and I think you had your youngest kid, or I say kid, the youngest player on the team was a 2003, and then you also had someone on your roster who was born in 1974.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that? What's that dynamic like? I mean, he could be that
So
guy's dad.
so I think if the kid that you're talking about, he plays for the AAA Wings in Toronto. He's disgusting.
Okay.
Belarusian kid, like disgusting. Um, but yeah, we had a couple old guys last year, and it's just like every year some more of the fat's been trimmed.
Hmm.
So next year will be, at least all ACHA skill level guys. Um, and then some of the older guys, like we had a 43, 44-year-old this year. Um, but he has like Dell or Germany 2, Germany 3, and like experience like that. So he's been pro and super high level, and then he just comes back to Israel to play. But um, first 2 years, it was all about just, okay, who can play, who can skate. All right, cool. Let's get it out there.
And so when you were obviously when you graduated from Eastern Kentucky and you took the few years and again honed your skills, what I mean, was there any hesitation this, I'm going to go to Israel and play hockey for a month and a half, or were you just sold on it and wanted to just keep playing? Or did you
I'm
go?
usually like a pretty timid person whenever
Yeah.
it comes to new things, but I mean, with hockey, it's a little different. But um, it's just that conversation of, oh, I've been out of it for, I think it was like 2 years, 3 years, something like that, that I was out of the game. And then it's,
Mhm.
oh, you want me to go back and hit and be hit again? I
Yeah.
don't know about
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
I was
And
gonna
Like some
ask you if it
guys,
was
they
checking.
love to revisit those days, but I mean, oh man.
Alex, ask your question.
You got fighting over there too?
Oh yeah, full fight. So I look at it like this, where I'm not getting paid, and I mean, I don't have the best face of all, so I wear a bubble. But I mean, there's people that are out there in a visor and just want to pound faces.
Yeah,
We
I'm looking
have,
at your stats from
Yeah.
the
Low
22, 23
pins.
season. You got two
yeah,
two pins.
it was a terrible call as well.
Yeah, you're a skill
That's
guy.
probably,
You're a skill guy.
probably like a trip or something, probably.
It was a trip. Um, but like, there's one guy that we have in the league who he plays in the Fed League, and I mean, he all he wants to do is fight. So he'll
Be
get one every now
careful
and
those
then,
Fed
but
guys.
yeah, they're insane.
Those Fed guys or something, aren't they, Greg?
Oh, yeah, I hear you. That's why I don't do it. Not because of my skill level, because I'm too scared. So, and talking about the pace of play, and you mentioned next year it's going to be more of a kind of an ACHA level. I mean, is the game played any differently? Is it we talk about Europeans and it's control the puck and the American styles. I mean, it's changing, but used to be that
Yeah,
dump and chase. Is it
it's
similar?
our team was very European.
Mhm.
So like I said, we had a lot of like KHL guys, a lot of Belarusian guys. So it's very much possession and skate and pass, where you would watch the American line, as we call it, go out and dump and chase and bang bodies.
F1, F2, F3.
Yes, F1 hard.
Um, So, and as we kind of wrap this up, we have a lot of younger listeners, but there's always, for the guys that are graduating and they don't know what's graduating from college and they don't know what's going to be next. And obviously in the States, there's the Fed, there's the SP. I mean, if you're lucky enough to get an EC offer, something like that, that's great. But I mean, obviously, you wanted to continue playing after using your degree didn't pan out the way you wanted it to. But is there any advice you could give to, some of our younger listeners about, there's spots to play. Sometimes you just have to look elsewhere, I guess, not necessarily the States.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know if you guys are you guys from Nashville? Like, have you guys been here a while?
No. Moved here 2018.
Okay, so I mean, even like 2018 time, like still hockey wasn't huge yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't even know that it was a possibility to like go play in Australia or go play in Germany or Sweden or all these different places where hockey exists. And some of the leagues they are lower, and some of them they don't pay a lot. Some of them pay for your housing. Some of them give you a job. So they all make it work one little bit of another, and it's just what you're open to and where you're looking at going. Like, it sounds funny, but I mean, we had guys from Israel that ended up going to Spain and playing there, and then from Spain, one's playing in the Fed, one's playing in the Australian League. One player went from our league and played in, I want to say Finland. So I mean, everyone pays attention to where you are, one way or another, and then just who you work with, who your coaches work with, but just being open to anything really.
Yeah, there's always some place to play, right? So no, that's
Yeah.
cool, and I appreciate you sharing your story. But I guess is there anything like a funny story about playing in Israel, or anything you want to share that maybe we missed something? Obviously Israel isn't, or ice hockey is not the sport of Israel, but any funny interaction or something like that off the top of your head?
Yeah, so we have one guy, he's from Montreal. He makes everyone aware that ice hockey isn't the biggest thing. He lets us know that you never tell a girl in Israel that you're a pro ice hockey player because it's the equivalent of telling a Canadian girl that you're a pro ping pong player.
Well, there you go.
Well, so would you probably want to be probably soccer?
Yeah, pro soccer or basketball.
Oh, basketball too, yeah.
And basketball's big there.
So obviously, 14 games, 40 days. I know you're on the beach, and you mentioned you go down there and hang out. But I guess, is there anything else the boys get together to do that you can share with youth listeners?
So it is like a little cultural experience as well. A lot of people are in Israel for the first time. So the league's good about doing field trips to like Jerusalem or to the Dead Sea or the Sea of Galilee or, little things like that. So taking people all over the country, and then on Friday nights we do Shabbat dinner. So it's like the day of rest. So we all get together and we have a big, massive dinner together. So it's a real like community style event. Like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
I mean, if anything, I mean, you're playing hockey, you're getting a vacation. I'll call it a vacation, but it's it's an experience that you wouldn't get to do if you weren't playing hockey, right, or otherwise.
Definitely.
Alex, you got anything else for Cam?
No, this was great though. That was an interesting story. I'd never heard of this league or the teams or any of that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and I was actually, this is, coming to an interview, and again, this is episode 25, and normally while the guest is talking, I'm able to think of questions and kind of flow it, but I was so interested in hearing about it, because honestly I knew nothing about the league and what it'd be like playing over there. So it was just a lot of listening, and no, it was really cool, the stories you shared, and obviously sharing your experience of playing over there. But no, we appreciate you coming on, Cam.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, I think that'll wrap it up for this episode. And actually, before you let you go, Cam, are you planning on returning next year? You have that
Oh yeah.
set
Oh
yet?
yeah. Oh yeah.
You go back?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, twist my arm.
Yeah, you got to keep doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride this out as long as I can until I'm that
Yeah,
old guy in the
absolutely.
league.
When you come back,
Yeah, I
are you
hear
playing
you.
men's league here or anything?
Yeah, I play Upper B at Centennial, I and then I ref as well. So I wasn't gonna say anything, but I've refed your Nashvilleans. Is that what they are? The green team?
Oh crap.
Yeah, we've
Where
crossed paths a few times.
was that the one at Ford or were you in Clarksville?
I was the one at Ford. It was like the beginning of the summer. It was me and Ianello.
Okay.
Did
All
Greg
right.
yell
Well,
at you?
yeah, did I
Oh,
yell at you?
always.
Damn it.
One thing I've learned
Well,
is the ref is always wrong, and the bench has the best view of everything.
Yeah, I'm glad
yeah.
that you can admit that.
Yeah.
I mean, I give the refs. I like to think I'm getting better, but I would never ever ref.
No, me either.
I couldn't do it.
I did in a fist fight.
Well, again, Cam, thanks for coming on, and if we see each other in the rinks, make sure to say hello. But I hope the listeners enjoyed, and we'll talk to everybody on next week's episode. Thanks, guys.
All right. Sounds good, buddy. Thanks for having
Thanks,
me.
guys. See ya.